New cards, PogChamp. New cards, PogChamp. First and foremost, Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series Japan Osaka 2026 prize cards. We have BLS Envoy at the beginning and Call of the Haunted. Folks, how long did it take for them to give specialty artwork to classic cards for winning events? Duh, dude. Of course. This Call looks awesome, by the way. Huge fan of Call. I mean, huge fan of the BLS, too. It looks really cool. We'll take it. We will take it. All right, next up. Unearth the Ancient Secrets, UT01. This is Ancient Secrets is the name of this card. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. Special summon a normal monster from your hand or deck or graveyard in defense position, but if it's from the deck, it's got to be level 4 or lower. If you control a normal monster card, you can apply one of these effects instead. Destroy all monsters your opponent controls, destroy all spells and traps your opponent controls, draw 2 cards, or special monster from either graveyard to your field. I like this card a great deal. I think there's a number of places where it goes. There's a lot of decks that can integrate a normal monster into their combos, and in so doing can play this like fucked up triple tack. That said, I think its playability kind of waxes and wanes based on if those decks are good, if this is an effect you want to be doing. So for that reason, you know, not every overframe has to be game-changing. Doug-coded card, it is definitely Doug-coded. Also because Doug looks like this. Va-va-voom. All right, next up. There are storms in space. Spatial Trunade. This Trunade is a spacist. What I like about this one is the cow is still on the picture. Spatial Trunade. You can only activate one card with this card's name once per turn. Return up to 2 cards on the field of the hand. Then each player places card from their hand on the bottom of the deck in any order equal to the number returned to their hand. So I don't like this card. I don't like this card for a number of reasons. First up, I think people are reading this as a going second card. That's correct. Like, the cards you put in the sideboard for going second are allowed to read win the game. Like, that is not new. It's going second slop. You only like it because it helps you going second right. For that reason, I think that it doesn't occupy the same space that like a Lightning Storm would, or, you know, Super Poly would, or anything like that. I think this is a card that will be in the conversation with those cards based on the format. I think there will be positions in which this is better than those cards. There will be formats in which it is worse. It's just another fucking thing you board in that reads you win the game going second. The hand rip is kind of BS, so it's not really a hand rip. It would be a much more interesting card if it was. But each player places cards from their hand on the bottom of the deck in any order equal to the number returned to their hand. Means that if you return to your hand on your first turn, you're hand ripping yourself, not your opponent. Mimigul plays this to hand rip. Yo! Wait, no, right? Because it's where it returns to. So it's Brainstorm, is what you're saying. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. All right, next up. All right, we got 3 new archetypes. The first and foremost is the Asutra. First up is Akasuna, the golden deity Asutra. Special summon this. You can special summon with the way in this card's names 1 effect once per turn. God, there's got to be a less clunky way to say that. You can special summon this card by revealing one of your set cards and returning it to the hand or extra deck. During the main phase, you can send a trap from your hand or face down field to the graveyard to change all face up monsters your opponent controls to face down defense position. And during your end phase, you can set an Asutra trap. Kuzuha, the bewitching deity Asutra. You can special summon this card by revealing one of your set cards and returning it to the hand or extra deck. You can target a card on the field for every 2 set cards, destroy them, and during your end phase, you can target an Asutra trap in your graveyard, set it. Yoa the Plague Deity Asutra. You can special summon this card from your hand by revealing one of your set cards and returning to the hand or extra deck. During your main phase, you can set an Asutra spell trap from your deck. During your opponent's turn, you can target a face-up monster of the field, increase or decrease its level by 1. Mikumari the Sealing Deity Asutra. Special summon this card by revealing one of your set cards and returning it to the hand or extra deck. During your main phase, you can add a non-worm Asutra from your deck to your hand, which I think is all of them. Yeah, they're all different types. And if this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material for an Asutra, you can target a normal trap in your graveyard. Set it, speaking of. Asutraja Suzanu. If this card is synchro summoned, you can banish any number of traps from your graveyard, banish that many cards on the field, and during the end phase, you can target up to 2 Asutra monsters or 2 Asutra traps in your graveyard or banishment for each of them added to your hand or set it. Then, if you targeted 2 cards, return this card to the extra deck. Oh. I'm allergic to feet. If this card is special summoned, you can send 1 Asutra card from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, send a card on the field to the graveyard. If your opponent activates a monster effect, you can target an Asutra trap in your graveyard or banishment. Then if there are 3 or more set cards on your field, you can target a trap in your graveyard instead. Set it. Asutra Shen Trichiolaclysm. You can target any number of your set cards, add Asutra cards from your deck to your hand with different names from each other equal to the number of those targeted cards that are still face down, then send those set cards to the graveyard. Okay, that card's crazy. If a card becomes set while you control an Asutra and a set card, you can target a card on the field, return it to the hand. Asutra Insect Poison is a trap monster, then allows you to synchro. Or it is call. Asutra Cursed Roar, trap monster that allows you to synchro, or a pop. Same deal, trap monster that allows you to synchro, or negate a spell trap effect. And then Trap Trick is in here too. I like the alt art on Trap Trick. It's fun. Okay, so I don't like this deck. I'm sorry to kind of let you all down easy. I think that this deck is interesting. Like, from a design perspective, there's a lot of cool stuff going on. My understanding is you're meant to, like, set a bunch of traps and then use them to cheat these guys out, and hopefully you find Tricolocalism and draw a million cards on your way, and some of them shuffle back into the deck, but some of them send to the graveyard. To me, it seems like it's kind of at war with yourself. Both of these synchro summoned monsters get so much better if you're going second, but you cannot possibly go second in this deck. Because it's like all trap monsters, it's all traps. You know, it would look like pass. Lithium has a video already. Let's see what it looks like. Amazement odd deck, very similar.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back. So, new archetype. It was revealed a couple of days ago, but
Asutra is
country,
busted!
so I wasn't able to play this, but we're a couple of...
Okay, first off, this is a good sign. You want to see in your Asutra deck, based around setting trap cards, you want to see 3 trap cards exactly. Why play more? You want to see the White Forest combo stuff. That's really helpful.
Drop, maybe 1 or 2
You want to
cards.
see Toy Box.
We'll come back to that in a couple of moments, but it's an intriguing archetype. Asutra, it's synchro-based, obviously, level 7, level 8, Kashtira vibes. And one of the most notable boss monsters I wanted to go for this deck was Ultimate Solkin, and I was looking for engines, and I think this engine takes the cake. It's a 2-card combo. The field spell is the most crucial part of the engine. It sends up to 2 sets from your field to the graveyard to search up to 2 from the deck. You know, Asutra cards, basically. And an engine that comes into play, at least into my mind, is the toy engine. And I was like, or people might think, oh, toy, you're just giving yourself empty cards, dead weight. That's not true. Your toy continuous spell, you know, makes it so that eventually you get double level 8 on the field. Double level 8 synchro.
Be reasonable.
Generic. There's a couple of options, but the most important one is here the insect. It can make itself a tune.
No, dude, it's fucking not 2016.
And that opens up Tzolk'in. There are multiple ways to potentially go for Tzolk'in, but every engine was like useless. Or it involved bricks or whatever, but the toy engine, it actually doesn't. because the engine does so much for the deck. It summons, it searches a spell that can be set for the archetype. Reveal, get it back to the hand, and you can special summon.
This is just synchro slop. You like it because it's synchro. Nah, I'm not super impressed. All right, next up. Umi! Folks! Umi's back. Oh, fine. I'll look at your other fucking dueling book combo. I'll verify I'm human. All right, what are we looking at here? All right. Okay, yeah, as expected. Oh, wait, Fallen of Albaz? Okay, yeah. That's, all right, I don't really, I actually don't really like this combo. I think this combo is not very good. I was like, right. You go for Ecclesia, you go Walbaz, nope, that's the wrong one. That's, oh my god. Okay. Umi. If you control Atlantis, the Dragon City, or Umi, you can special this card from your hand. This card's name becomes Umi while in the monster zone, so get ready for that, by the way. You can send up to 3 face-up Umi you control to the graveyard at an equal number of cards that mention Atlantis, the Dragon City, from your deck to your hand, except level 7s, then send a card on the field to the graveyard. General of Atlantis. You can discard this card, add a spell trap that mentions Atlantis from your deck to your hand. It's just crazy. They fixed it, by the way. Oh, wait, did they fix it? Hold up. Let me see Atlantis, the Dragon City. Okay, it doesn't say this card is called Umi. All right, they fixed it. This card's name becomes Umi while in the monster zone. If this card is in your graveyard and you control Umi, you can special this card. Monstrous Arms of Atlantis. If this card is normally special, you can target a monster in your graveyard that mentions Atlantis, the Dragon City. Special summon it in defense. It becomes Umi while in the monster zone. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you can banish this card from your field to graveyard and send a face-up Umi you control to the graveyard. Negate that effect. Fiendish Vortex of Atlantis. If normally special, you can send a card that mentions Atlantis, the Dragon City, from your deck to the graveyard, except itself. It's Umi while in the monster zone. And if this is sent to the graveyard and you control Umi, you can special a water monster from your hand. Blue Ocean Dragon Lord Neo Daedalus Rage. Okay, if this card is link summoned, you can special summon up to 3 monsters that mention Atlantis from your graveyard to zones this card points to. Also, you're locked. This card's name becomes Umi, and once per turn, you can send an Umi you control to the graveyard. Send all cards on the field to the graveyard except Umi. Funny. Levia Dragoon Daedalus. If this card is link summoned, special summon a monster that mentions Atlantis from your deck. Crazy. It's Umi, and during the main phase, you can send an Umi you control to the graveyard. Your opponent discards their entire hand. And if they do, they draw the same number of cards. Neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. Prioto Atlantis. This is Atlantis, the Dragon City. The levels of all monsters in both players' hands and fields are decreased by 1 while you control a monster that mentions it. You can link summon Daedalus monsters with 1 less material. Reduce the number of materials listed for the link summon of all Daedalus monsters by 1. If this card is in your graveyard and you control Umi, you can place this card face up on the field. Atlantis Call. Add a monster that mentions Atlantis, the Dragon City, from your deck to your hand. That if you control it, you can negate the effects of an effect monster your opponent controls. If you control Umi, banishes from the graveyard. Water monsters gain 500 attack and defense. Atlantis Advent. This art is very interesting. This card's name becomes Umi. During your main phase, you can put in Atlantis, the Dragon City, or Umi from your deck face up in your field zone. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a level 7 Sea Serpent monster from your deck to your hand. A raspberry from our garden. You don't want this one? Oh, okay. I'm so glad we're getting them this year. Before the bird gets them, yeah. Oh, that was great. Daedalus Maelstrom. When your opponent would normally special summon a monster while you control Atlantis, the Dragon City, negate the summon. If you do, destroy the monster. Then if you control a water link, destroy all non-water monsters on the field. Banish this card from your graveyard and send a face-up Umi you control to the graveyard. To target a monster your opponent controls, send it to the graveyard. Fish Sonar 2. So, does this deck lose to Heraldry Patriarch like Harpies do? Yes. You know, color me surprised. I really like these cards. I think these cards are quite powerful. And I will admit, part of it is me being biased towards Umi. But they pretty much have everything you need. Like, here's a card that searches Atlantis, the Dragon City. It's also free to special. Here's a card that reborns a guy. It's a wolf bark, but it also works off special. Here's a guy that bins a guy, and you know what? You can then reborn it. This is a monster effect negates. Banish this card from your field or graveyard. Well, what are you sending? Gee, I wonder. And the boss, Daedalus, is also pretty strong. I love these links. I think Daedalus Rage and Levia Dragoon Daedalus are exceptionally powerful. And I love the spells, too. I will say, right now, they seem kind of like missing a game plan, if that makes sense. Combos for the deck, and it bridges with Mermail.
And here in today's video, we'll be
see,
featuring.
this is what I'm afraid of, is if these become 5 interesting cards that you play in Mermail, I am not super interested in them. Because, you know, if you resolve your Neptibus and get all your shit, you always win anyway. But here we go. Neptibus, we bring back the Gooner. Snowdust Giant, be fucking for real, folks. Mulan Glacia. I mean, this is just what you would expect. Mill 2, Anemone, bring back the guy. Bring back the new 5, go for the 3 effect. Bring back the Reborn, 2 more link material, everything to the yard for Big Levia. Bring back the 3 and the old guy and the new guy, and that's it. Like, I don't love that as a combo. But I do think these cards are really promising. I wish there was something to do with them that wasn't like put them into a water deck that is already pretty good. The pure version is kind of whatever, but you can play La Virtue for free. Well, that's funny, at least. I'm human, I think. All right, let's grab General of Atlantis here. Worst 1 card of all time. I'm excited. Fiendish Vortex, Special, Send Advent, Advent, grab Daedalus. General Effect, Daedalus, Daedalus, grab Advent, Advent, grab Umi. Go for the 3, Summon from Grave, overlay for Le Virtue, Virtue Signal. Use its effect, grab back Daedalus. Oh, special out the Daedalus, everyone to the yard for the 4. Okay, I mean, this isn't terrible. Cope. All right, next up. New Adamancipator's PogChamp, new Adamancipator's PogChamp. I don't like that these are big titty anime girls. Can I say that? I kind of liked how, not that the old Adamancipators weren't anime, but these are just like, we get it, you know? All right, so this one has the Bismuth Rod. Adamancipator Conductor. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is in your hand, you can place 1 other Adamancipator card from your hand on top of the deck. Special discard. During your main phase, you can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck. If you do, you can special summon an excavated 4 or lower rock monster. Also place the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order. And Adamancipator Crystal Tiamite. If this card is special summoned by an Adamancipator card's effect, you can add an Adamancipator from your deck to your hand, then special summon a rock monster from your hand. If this card is in your graveyard, target a rock synchro on your field or in your graveyard, return it to the extra deck, and if you do, place this card on top of the deck. Also, I'm not a big fan of this card. I know a lot of people are like, this art is so heckin' good. I think it looks really messy, actually. I like how the other Adamancipators look. This is just a Tistina. Yeah, I mean, it does have all the Tistina trappings. If you have a dark monster in your graveyard, you can add an Adamancipator spell trap from your deck to your hand. When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, excavate 5, and do the blue effect. Adamancipator Luminous. If this card is Link Summoned or a monster is special summoned to a zone this card points to, target a monster on your field or in your graveyard with a level, especially Glimmer token with the same level. And when another monster on the field activates its effect, you can put it on top of the deck. Adamancipator Mates. Add an Adamancipator from your deck to your hand. If this card is in your graveyard, put a card from your hand on top of the deck. Add this card to your hand. I don't know. So this card's crazy. Tiamat seems really interesting, especially for people who are still coping on Adamancipator 15 years on, right? This is, of course, a good card. Any new card that for Adamancipator gives them another thing to use, which is important. And Tiamat is strong. I'm not going to pretend it's not strong, right? The link is kind of weird. It doesn't really seem to do much for the archetype. Chat's saying it's a yummy link, which is true. And Mates is like a fun of that you don't want to brick on. I don't know. It's kind of weird. You would expect a series of legacy support to be like noticeably better than the original support, but with the exception of Tiamat, I don't really think this is. Conductor is so disappointing. I know, because of the art, right? I don't know. Not to be a total bitch about this, but like the Adamancipators for me, I was like, oh, each individual Adamancipator has so much character, even though one of them is an anime lady. But to me, it's like this could really easily be a charmer, you know? Like, oh, this is a charmer. This could really easily be a Tistina. I don't know. She has a bismuth staff. Okay, the bismuth staff, I will admit, is kind of cool. She's the bismuth charmer. Also, who's this? Why don't we have her? She's from the Dwimmered cards? Yeah, but I want to see her. Next wave of support, I guess. Thus ends new cards. All right, let's play some Yu-Gi-Oh!